crazy tequila heists, violent hairstylists, and a Guy Fieri may be known for his spiky blonde hair, baggy flame shirts, and big personality, but beneath that fun exterior, there's a dark side. In 2011, Fieri experienced the devastating loss of his younger sister Morgan to metastatic melanoma at the age of just 38. As a result, the chef and his wife successfully applied for custody of Morgan's son Jules, and Fieri continues to keep her memory alive in several other ways. While appearing on Ross Matthews' podcast Hello Ross in 2022, Fieri revealed that he has often sensed Morgan's presence by his side. He said, "It's not a booming voice from the sky, but it's these feelings. I could feel this movement that I was supposed to engage Jules differently." 2 years later, Fieri revealed how he's also paid his respects to Morgan, who is openly gay, on a visual level. On what would have been her 52nd birthday, he posted a clip on Instagram.
Happy birthday to my little sister Morgan. This is a memorial that I have here in my house.
The Food Network star showed his followers a mosaic artwork dedicated to his late sibling, as well as a matching tattoo on his forearm.
And then my most important tattoo is in memory of my sister Morgan. This is her. It's Botticelli's Venus. That's what always reminded me of her.
It seems fair to say that Guy Fieri and large animals don't mix. While trying out his rodeo skills as a teenager, he suffered multiple injuries, including a broken wrist when his bull of choice got startled by a bloodthirsty dog. And as a 10-year-old, Fieri very nearly lost his life after being stomped on by a horse.
And I think he goes down, and I fall off, and I roll over the shoulder and fall, and his next step is on me.
The future Food Network star was left with internal bleeding as a result. To make matters worse, his parents were backpacking across the other side of the Atlantic at the time, and so doctors didn't initially have the permission to investigate why. Luckily, a rushed-through court order enabled medical professionals to reach a diagnosis. He had a bruised heart and a torn ligament from his liver. Thankfully, the youngster made a full recovery, and he was undeterred from getting back in the saddle. While studying at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, Fieri was involved in a devastating car crash that took the life of a fellow passenger. To make things even more traumatic, the future chef was wrongly accused of driving the vehicle while also under the influence. While appearing on the Now What with Brooke Shields podcast, Fieri explained that when he was 19, he had been drinking and watching drag boat races with several other guys. On their way back, the driver spotted a cop and sped off, eventually flipping the car. When Fieri, who'd been in the back seat, awoke in the hospital, he found himself handcuffed to a gurney. Unfortunately, the rest of the survivors had put the blame squarely on Fieri, and he was forced to lawyer up. Lucky for him, it was determined pretty quickly that he wasn't the one driving, but he still took an invaluable life lesson from the horrific experience. He explained to Shields, "It's things I teach my kids all the time. Don't trust anybody to drive you. Don't trust what anybody puts in a drink and gives it to you. You have to be the master of your domain." In 2011, 4 years after Fieri's most popular show Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives first premiered, a former producer sued the Food Network for breach of contract. He ultimately argued that Fieri was the individual at fault. David Page, the owner of Page Television and Video Productions, claimed his company had been deliberately ousted by both the Food Network and Fieri without due cause. Following a countersuit that alleged that the producer had created an intolerable work environment, the matter was settled out of court. But Page was still unhappy. He told the Minnesota Star-Tribune, "The reason I lost Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives is because of Guy Fieri. Guy worked for more than a year to try to get the network to take the show away from me and give it to another production company where presumably he would be in control." It's unlikely that Anthony Bourdain ever invited Guy Fieri over for dinner. In fact, barely an interview went by without the culinary genius passing judgment on the spiky-haired blonde. So why exactly did the pair not get along? Well, Bourdain first made his disdain known in a 2008 TV Guide interview, in which he described his fellow chef as a Simpsons character designed by committee. He later told the same magazine, "I look at Guy Fieri and I just think, Jesus, I'm glad that's not me." And during his 2015 Close to the Bone tour, Bourdain took aim at the Food Network star's dress sense, declaring to the audience, "He's 52 years old and still rolling around in the flame outfit. How does Guy Fieri de-douche?" Fieri did occasionally fight back. He brought up Bourdain's checkered history in a comedy roast, saying, I hear you're the only one in class who did most of his cooking with a spoon and a Bic lighter. For the most part, though, Fieri seemed more disappointed than hurt by all the jibes. He told GQ in 2015, "I don't like him making fun of people, and I don't like him talking and he's never talked to my face. I know he's definitely gotta have issues because the average person doesn't behave that way." In 1996, Fieri and his business partner Steve Gruber opened up a Santa Rosa pasta joint named Johnny Garlic's. The venture proved to be such a success that it soon became a chain, with branches popping up across various other California locations. Unfortunately, the pair's relationship soured, and fast. In 2015, Fieri decided that he'd had enough and filed a petition to have all 7 remaining Johnny Garlic's closed. Gruber, however, felt that there was still plenty of life left in the chain and subsequently sued Fieri in a bid to obtain full ownership. Luckily for Gruber, the court ruled in his favor and he was allowed to acquire all of Fieri's shares in the firm. But it only proved to be a temporary reprieve. Just 3 years later, Johnny Garlic's was forced to close its stores everywhere for good, with its sole owner citing the cost of doing business as the primary reason for its downfall. In 2013, Fieri and his hairstylist Ariel Ramirez appeared to suffer a bout of post-airplane rage following a flight to San Francisco. In fact, things got so heated between the pair that they ended up getting into a physical fight. The drama began when they left the city's airport and briefly shared a ride to their destination. It's not clear what caused things to escalate, but in a video obtained by TMZ, a clearly enraged Ramirez appears to have been thrown out of the vehicle. He subsequently starts throwing punches at Fieri through the SUV's open door. In an effort to subdue the pair, both of whom had allegedly been drinking on their flight, Fieri's manager decided to get out of the car and book Ramirez a separate ride. A Fieri spokesperson later claimed, "A bunch of guys were messing around, things got a little out of hand, but they're all good now." Having lost his younger sister Morgan to cancer in 2011, Fieri was undoubtedly left devastated when his father Jim also received a cancer diagnosis just a few years later. Luckily, Jim was given the all-clear in 2017. Guy told People magazine in 2022, "My dad just beat pancreatic cancer 5 years ago, which was a miracle, and he's been a great advocate for people that have gone through it." Fieri also took an important life lesson from the hardship. He said, "I think you got to live every single day. That's the biggest thing. You never know what tomorrow's going to bring." Sadly, Jim Fieri died just over a year later, in 2024 at the age of 81. Commemorating Father's Day in June 2024, the Food Network star admitted to his Instagram followers that he was feeling Jim's absence, but he made an acknowledgement. In 2011, Fieri's yellow Lamborghini was stolen from a dealership by a 19-year-old man named Max Wade. It took over 12 months for the cops to retrieve the Lamborghini, which had been kept at a storage facility in Richmond, California. Wade was subsequently found guilty of commercial burglary and auto theft. Fieri was asked to testify in Wade's trial 3 years after his beloved car was stolen, and it took just 5 minutes for him to confirm that he didn't give Wade permission to take the car. After testifying, Fieri told ABC7 News, "For me, as a guy who talks on TV all the time, I was surprised that it was that short. I just wanted to keep it straight and to the point. Let's wrap this up." Fieri's plans to expand his food and drink empire hit a stumbling block in 2014 when he was challenged by residents near Santa Rosa who didn't take kindly to the prospect of increased noise and traffic from the area's foremost wine connoisseurs. Fieri had intended to open an upmarket boutique winery in a rural area west of the Californian city, but local residents objected so much to the idea that they staged a protest outside of a public hearing. Fieri's attorney told the Press Democrat, "We want to emphasize that we've taken the neighbors' concerns into consideration." But that didn't appease the disgruntled locals who waved signs with messages like, "Shh, keep Willowside safe and quiet. No to Guy Fieri." The tactics seemed to work, and after the Sonoma County Board of Zoning Adjustments rejected Fieri's plans, the TV chef decided not to pursue the idea any further. 13 years after his yellow Lamborghini was stolen by a teen, Fieri somehow managed to get himself embroiled in another bizarre crime. On this occasion, it was an Ocean's 11-esque heist involving his tequila company. In 2024, a couple of trucks carrying a whopping 4,000 cases of Santo Tequila, the brand Fieri formed with ex-Van Halen singer Sammy Hagar, were stolen at a facility in Mexico. Fieri told Fox News Digital, "This wasn't haphazardly that someone decided they would go steal a truck. Someone was planning it, someone got it, someone still has 10,000 bottles of it." According to Fieri, the thieves manipulated the truck's GPS system to make it seem as though Santo Tequila's distribution center in Pennsylvania was the destination. Instead, at least one of the vehicles headed to Los Angeles and was recovered with its contents still intact. The remaining cases, however, were never found.
So, good luck. Go find yourself some. Cheers.
Fieri said. When I got the phone call, it was really just like, wait a sec, is somebody punking me?